Good morning. So today I wanted to touch base on how important mental health is. For me, like I said, I had started using drugs and alcohol at 13, and at 14 or so, my mom put me in counseling, and I was diagnosed with bipolar. So I got put on medication, and at this point in my life, I had already started smoking weed, I had already started drinking, and I had realized that those substances made me feel comfortable in my own skin, made me feel good, I felt almost complete or whole. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is that something outside of me was making me feel better on the inside. So when I got put on medication, it told me that things outside of me, medication, are going to make me feel better on the inside. So over the years, I continued to self-medicate. I would take over-the-counter medication, I would continue smoking weed, I would continue drinking, and I would do it excessively. So these things were making me feel better about me. I didn't know what was going on inside of me. I didn't know what was going on inside of my brain. I had no idea. I just knew that things outside of me were gonna fix me. They were gonna make me better. They were going to fix me like I was broken. And I would go to counseling, and I was trying really hard to figure out what was wrong with me. And ultimately, nothing was wrong with me. I just didn't know how to cope with life. I didn't know how to handle the emotions and the feelings that were happening at such a young age. There were so many people in my class who were, at least in my group, using drugs or self-harming. And self-harming is another form of addiction. I'm doing something, and it's outside of me, and it's making me feel better on the inside. And even though that wasn't something that I did, I still think it's a very important topic to touch on, because that's what kids do. They don't know how to handle it, so they reach out to the internet. They reach out to other children and other kids in their class, and either people are using school or church as an out, which is an awesome out, or sports, but what about the others? They are learning that drugs or self-harm is making them feel better. So I continued to use drugs and alcohol for so long to self-medicate myself. I was diagnosed with herniated discs in my lower back at about 19, I think, 20, I'm not sure exactly how old I was, but I was prescribed painkillers. I didn't know anything about painkillers at that time, and when I learned what opiates and painkillers did to me, it was so euphoric. It was something that I had never felt. It was this completeness. And how can somebody who's never experienced that feeling on the inside relate or judge me? Nobody. That's not fair to be judged unless you have felt that feeling and have gone through the things that I've went through. It's just not okay. We can't judge people who are self-harming. We can't judge people who are using drugs and alcohol to self-medicate. That's not fair at all for anybody to do that. Love that person. Be there for that person. Do some research and really try and help that person. When I got sober, I quit taking the medications. I really just wanted to find out who I was with no substances. And that's not what everybody does, but this is just what I did. And just because I did it doesn't mean that it's right for everybody. It's just what I did. I did not want to be on bipolar medication. I did not want to be that. I just wanted to get sober, and I wanted to learn who I was. And that's what I did. And like I said the other day, I had been struggling this last year with anxiety, and things are changing in my life, and I just didn't know how to cope with them. I just didn't know how to deal with them. Just because I'm sober and in recovery does not mean I'm perfect, does not mean I know how to handle every situation that is thrown at me. I started counseling. I didn't know how to handle the anxiety. I was having panic attacks. I was having social anxiety, and for me, I love to be social. I love to be around people, and so that was something completely new to me. And for me, I felt like because these things were happening, something wasn't right inside. How can I work on this? How can I cope with this situation? And for me, that was going to a counselor. I was talking about it with other people, but I started seeing a counselor, and that was very, very beneficial for me. And I did start taking a medication to help balance my moods and to try and... Rain, leave it. Sorry, dogs. I started taking this medication to help balance me out and to really help what was going on in my life. It's scary. It's really scary to be put on a medication as a person in recovery from drugs and alcohol. It is, because I didn't know what it was going to do to me. I didn't know how it was going to make me feel. I didn't know if it was going to make me feel so good that I was going to want to abuse it. It's scary. It's a very scary thing. And so I had the doctor do the smallest dose they could and go from there. And I think it's been very beneficial. That and counseling and going to support groups and reaching out and getting outside of myself and helping somebody is one of the best things for me. Helping other people is huge. There are numerous locations and numerous people out there who are willing to help with mental illness, who are willing to help you. We are all here to help you, and you just have to reach out. You just have to reach out and have a little bit of willingness. Don't be scared. Don't be ashamed. And if you are, it's okay. There are people who are going to be there for you and have compassion and understand. Understand. Just because someone hasn't been through the exact same thing that you've been through, they might be able to relate in some aspect of their life. Please make sure that you are talking and keeping an open mind when you hear other people talk about mental illness, talk about anxiety, talk about bipolar, talk about addiction. So drugs and alcohol are just a symptom of the disease. If you don't believe it's a disease, then call it the big picture. So drugs and alcohol and the dogs, that is just a symptom of the big picture. I think the dogs have found a chipmunk, maybe? Not quite sure what's going on over there. But it's just a symptom. Drugs and alcohol are just a symptom of the disease, of the big picture. That's not the only thing that's going on with somebody is drugs and alcohol. So when we say, oh, they're just a junkie, they can't quit, what's really going on inside of them? Love them. Just because they're doing bad things to get their drugs and get their alcohol, just because they are stealing, doesn't mean that inside they're bad people. Love them, pray for them, have compassion for the person that they were prior to using drugs and alcohol, and pray that they can get the help that they need. Please make sure that you are liking my page, sharing it. Feel free to email me at positivemotivation101@gmail.com. If you want to share your story with me, I'm here to listen. If you need some help, I can find you some people in your area who are willing to help and listen. Follow, like, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to my page, to my channel here on YouTube. Thank you all for being a part of my journey, and just remember that today is a new day. Even if you had a bad day yesterday or even a bad morning so far, take a deep breath, shut everything off, restart your day with a smile. Bye. Mwah.